Previously on All Things Unexplained.
You know, Donna, I loved your example of the cougars, so I have to tell you that the same thing actually happens in Mississippi. My brother, he remains anonymous anytime he watches the show for some reason, but he's obsessed with the fact that black panthers or black cougars, some sort of large black cat, they are not listed as a real animal in the state of Mississippi, but there are numerous people who have seen them and photographed them, and just like you said, Donna. Well, why is there no acknowledgement of it whatsoever?
Yeah, but some of those sightings that I posted on my article were the black panthers.
All Things Unexplained. Hosted by Dr. Mounts.
Let's face it, we were always ready to roll without him anyway.
CJ Derringer.
Ain't nobody perfect, right?
And Smitty Neebs.
I've never planned out hardly anything my whole life. I just freeball.
Featuring Cajun Man.
I'm just old nobody, somebody looking for somebody.
We're speaking with award-winning author Donna Smith Campbell, author of the Bigfoot fiction, My Neighbors from the Woods. Donna, you were just telling us about living near the beach.
I lived in Plymouth most of my life, Plymouth, North Carolina, which is only about 80 miles inland from Nags Head, Outer Banks. It's one of my favorite places to go. Just hang out with my friends. I belong to a writers group, and this summer I started doing a little container gardening in the backyard. Started out good until it got hot, and then I don't like to go out and water.
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? When it gets hot out, that's when my garden would.
I'm a fair weather gardener.
Me too.
Well, Deborah Brown says y'all like to go look for Bigfoots.
We go looking for bears, and if a Bigfoot were to show up, that would be awful fun. I think about some of the questionable signs of Bigfoot for me are the structures, the trees that are leaning against other trees, and if you drive through Terrell and Hyde County, mainland Dare County, you're going to see all kinds of configurations of trees laying on another tree, and then sometimes it looks like something could have made it, but that's the wind, the rain, the snow. The wind can do amazing things. I took a picture. We have a bluegrass festival up here in Franklin County every year, and it's on like a 900-acre farm, and so one of the fun things is to ride around in golf carts, and there's little trails through the woods and stuff. And I took a picture of this tree that had fallen on another tree and split it right down the middle, like that.
Wow.
Tree opened up in one. And that's pretty amazing. I was like, how in the world did that happen? But I don't think that Bigfoot did it.
But maybe he did.
Right.
You never know.
You never know. It's kind of like if a tree falls in the woods, nobody's there to see it, right? And actually, Deborah says it is 100% chance that it was Bigfoot. So I was about to say, if a tree falls in the wood, nobody's there, does it make a sound? Well, if we're not there to see this happen, was it Bigfoot or not?
Yeah.
Deborah Brown says it definitely was Bigfoot. I tell you, one of my questionable signs of Bigfoots, and I get so frustrated watching some of these Bigfoot shows when they do things like stick a marshmallow way up in a tree, or something, and then they come back a little bit later and they said, well, that was 8, 9, 10 foot up in the tree. The only thing that could have messed with that was a Bigfoot. And I'm thinking, look, if y'all would see the things these squirrels do in my yard, I'll bring the white squirrels up again.
Lots
Yeah,
of
yeah.
things go up in the trees. Well,
Oh, yeah.
one
Well,
of my favorite YouTube channels is the Dixie Cryptid, and he had one of the experts on his show, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, but he ended with saying, "Not everything you see and hear in the woods is Bigfoot."
Hmm.
So I thought that was pretty true,
Yes.
pretty true. But you don't know, like you say.
One thing
But
that is common in
I like the eyewitness accounts. Those are the ones that impress me
yeah,
more than all the other little signs. But
and one thing
oh,
that's
yeah,
true
for
of the
sure.
eyewitness accounts and that is true in your book as well is that you have to be out in the woods, right? I grew up in California.
yes, and
People
here's
didn't
another
talk
thing that
about
makes me
Bigfoot where I
wonder,
was.
even about the eyewitness accounts, is if you announce you're going to have an expedition, you put it all out there on the internet and everything, and where you're going and all that. I mean, I think there'd be somebody that would just have to, dress up and go out there and try to scare somebody.
I should make that my new pastime. Let's just go out there and
Hey, be
I
careful
know, get
doing
shot.
that now. A lot of these folks carry
Well,
guns with
there's
them too.
all those
Yeah.
ones out there that think they need to shoot one to prove they exist. So I would be afraid to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so. That might.
And it reminds me of your character in the book, Donna. We're talking to Donna Campbell Smith, author of My Neighbors from the Woods. And the main character, Maggie, she started seeing these huge footprints on her property. And she knew they weren't bear prints. It was okay, like maybe the back feet, but never the front feet. And nobody believed her. That was physical evidence. Her friend John, who loved her cookies, he didn't believe her. Her other friends didn't believe her. The townspeople just thought she could have gone, and maybe a dog, maybe a bat for protection. But I couldn't help but wonder, like, was she frustrated? Like, how frustrated was she that nobody would even believe her at all?
Yeah, it's got to be. And so many people say, that they wait till their old age before they even tell it because of the reaction they get.
Right.
Well, and it's just like the cougars again.
Yeah.
The wildlife people are saying, no, that's not what you saw. It's probably just a house cat.
I mean, the reality of the situation
You
is
know better.
if I saw a Bigfoot tomorrow and I told everybody that I know that I saw a Bigfoot, the people that believe in Bigfoot would believe me, and the people that don't would not. They would all probably
True.
think I was crazy. I
That is
mean,
true.
and so at what
That
point
is
do you
true.
stop
Yeah.
telling people? And this comes back to
Yeah.
my friend Tanya that I interviewed for this show. When I started doing this show, she messaged me and she said, is this show really about, UFOs and Bigfoot? And I said, yes, it is. She said, I've seen a UFO. I saw a UFO. And she came on and told me her story, and she saw the UFO way back in 2002. She told a couple people back then when it happened, and nobody believed her, and everybody made fun of her, and so she stopped telling it until 2021. She told her story, this year, because now UFOs are re-entering our culture and our society as
Expectable to
potentially
believe in 'em.
real, and people are starting to talk about them, and she doesn't seem so crazy anymore. But yeah, I mean, she's like, and she saw what she saw, and nobody believed her.
Yeah.
You either believe or you
I think
don't.
it's arrogant to think that we are the only living people in eons of universes.
Right.
Doesn't even make sense to me. And I feel that way somewhat about Bigfoot. I'm like, why not? We don't know everything that's out there. People, and I didn't realize it was 1902 before they discovered the mountain gorillas. Is that the strain? That it was.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. So, and then there seems to be, and this is just a casual observance, there's something about the 70s with UFOs and Bigfoot both. There seemed to be a burst of sightings. So I wonder, Maybe it's got something to do with peace, love, and drugs.
Or maybe just as,
Oh.
forms of communication increased, people were able to hear these stories more.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These stories were shared, these stories were national news. Whereas before it was just sort of passed down from generations, and now those things that are passed down, used to be passed down from generations, are spread across countries and what have you.
Yeah. Fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the 70s, it really started becoming a part of a pop culture phenomenon, and at the same time, you kind of had the rise of the blockbuster movie, for example. So all of a sudden, people were watching things like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, like Jaws, like the $6 Million Man on television, which had a Bigfoot in it at one time. Star Trek, William Shatner, all kinds of shows on the unexplained on TV, Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
It might not date that far back, but shows like Unsolved Mysteries, predecessors, so it's actually really hard to separate. At what point did that the UFO and Bigfoot experiences take off, and the blockbuster movies and the television shows and everything? It's kind of hard to separate those two things, but I feel like they're kind of connected and hard to separate, but that doesn't take away from the validity of the sightings, though.
Right.
In my mind.
Yes.
Well, and then there's, what is it? Not mass hysteria, but you get the ball.
War of the Worlds.
It affects how other people think and what they look for, I guess.
Oh, right. Just like War of the Worlds, right? When it was first done on the radio, and next thing you know, you literally did have mass hysteria of people believing we were being attacked by an alien invasion.
Yep.
And it was real. It was real to them.
Yeah.
As real as anything.
And as far as Bigfoot, there is so much land that human beings haven't even set foot to. And I would go back to Hyde and Terrell County. There could be Bigfoot down there, and you'd never see them.
Right. And most people don't.
And that's just and think about the mountain areas. How the man who blew up the abortion clinic, how long he stayed hidden. Nobody found him until he came out into a town. I mean,
right.
I feel
that's
like
right.
There's a creature that doesn't want to be found. They can pretty well stay hidden.
Oh yeah. Well, even on the news right now, we have a man, the laundry man. I'm not 100% sure that's how you pronounce his name. I know you've both seen about him. They were vacationing in Utah, I believe, and they were newlyweds. His wife was found dead. The entire.
I've gotten so many of the details wrong, but it's fine.
I might have glossed over some of the details, but the fact is, the entire world is looking for this man.
Right.
No trace of him. No sign of him.
Yeah, it's wild. The other thing is, so many people, in terms of seeing Bigfoot or what have you, so many people don't leave their house, their neighborhood, their city, their comfort zone. How many people truly anymore are just out there in the woods, listening, taking it all in, looking outside themselves, looking outside their phone? I mean, I've got who knows how many friends on Facebook and Instagram, and maybe 2 or 3 of them are posting pictures out in the wilderness. I mean, there's not that many people to go and explore anymore, and they aren't looking for the right things. Right. They're taking selfies and taking pictures of who knows what. And if you're not looking, you're going to miss it all.
And it takes so much patience, and you have to be so quiet, because I would love to be a good wildlife photographer, but I'm not patient enough. I'll sit in the backyard and think, a deer will come out, and in 15 minutes I'm like, okay. Not gonna happen.
It's like my son, he wants to go catfishing, but I said, son, that is a sport of patience. I'm not sure you're ready yet for the catfishing. Bass fishing, you do fine, but the catfishing, sitting there waiting for hours for something to bite, I'm not so sure. Donna, you had a great example, though, about unexplored places. I wondered, what's your thoughts on, there seems to be a lot of Bigfoot sightings in connection with known areas with subterranean geography, caves, tunnels.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely possible. You talk about unexplored. We have no idea, basically, in terms of subterranean Earth, about what's below our own feet. And there are a lot of theories, that perhaps Bigfoots use this as a kind of a highway or door. They only peek out into our world, just every so often.
Yeah, I have read those stories too. And that's surely a possibility, depending on where you are. I wouldn't want to hide there.
Yeah, and in North Carolina, they're associated with other things like the Brown Mountain Lights and glowing orbs and UFOs. And so it is interesting to me how the subterranean and the unexplored places in the mountains, they always seem to connect to the mysterious.
Well, it's dark in there.
True. Yeah.
I remember a vacation trip, and we went to Linville Caverns. Is that it, in North Carolina Mountain? Yeah. And they get you in there, and then they turn the light off, and you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Oh my!
And I just don't appreciate that little trick.
No, I would not have either, Donna. I would have been shaken.
Mm-hmm. The darkest dark you will ever be in, right there.
Yep.
Crazy. Oh. Well, Donna, it has been so much fun chatting with you and learning about you and talking about your books. And we're definitely going to be reading the next one that you put out. And maybe you can even come back on the show and chat with us about that one. Okay. I know Tim had one more question for you, or maybe a few more, but certainly one more before we head out.
No, just one more thing, Donna. And by the way, it's been so great having award-winning author Donna Campbell Smith with us tonight. Please buy her book, My Friends from the Wood, My Neighbors from the Woods. CJ, could you hold that up for everybody again?
Author and illustrator.
Yes, I love the illustration. I love the cover. It's such a fascinating read. I love the characters in the book. It was a terrific book. And I'm like some of our listeners. I can't wait for the not sequel, but the next Bigfoot book you write, even if it's not necessarily a sequel. But Donna, this is All Things Unexplained, and we touched on this just a little while ago about the rise in Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings. And Donna, what is your take on the unexplained? Is there a crossover between all these paranormal unexplained things, Bigfoots, UFOs, aliens, ghost, etc.?
Well, I don't think of Bigfoot as paranormal. I just think he's another critter. So I guess I don't follow that train of thought. I grew up on ghost stories. Everybody told ghost stories. My mother was a great ghost storyteller, and there were two kinds that she told, the ones that were true and the ones that were made up. We never were quite sure which was which all the time.
Right.
So but I just, my belief, and I don't have anything to base it on but just mine being naive maybe, but I just think if Bigfoot's out there, he's just another creature like bear and deer and all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Maybe smarter than most. He's doing pretty good at not getting caught. That's the unexplained. We don't know.
Well said. And perhaps if any of us, Donna, CJ, or myself, ever got stuck in some quicksand or a snake-infested swamp, who knows? Maybe Bigfoot would lend a hand and try to help us out.
I would take help wherever I can get into that situation.
Yeah, me too.
I'm thinking that man must not have been in quicksand.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't in too much danger.
He must have known he could get out by himself.
Ah.
Well, thanks so
I,
much for
I
joining
admire
us tonight,
his
Donna.
feelings and his integrity, but hey, not staying in a hole with snakes if I got help waiting for me.
All I know is if Bigfoot ever reaches a hand out to help any of us, may there please also be a world-class photographer ready to snap.
Or just
In
in
this
this
day
day.
and
Now
time.
that's the
Although
real
I
shouldn't
unexplained
say that
mystery.
because I've taken a whole bunch of bear pictures and none of them have been sharp because I'm so excited I can't keep my hands steady. So that could be part of the problem.
All right. Well,
I
thank you
thank
again
y'all
so much
so
for
much
joining us.
for inviting me to do this. This has been fun.
It's been a joy.
It's been
And
so
thank you
fun.
to all
You've
of
been
Donna's
amazing.
Friends for chiming in. It's been good to meet your friends and your daughter as well.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for those of you that are watching us live and for those that are tuning into the podcast. We certainly appreciate your support. Until next time, go out there and find all the unexplained. Come share your stories with us soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, Donna. Good night, CJ.
Good night.
This has been All Things Unexplained.
If you liked this podcast, please do give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. If you would like to hear more All Things Unexplained, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you'd like to support our show, please do visit buymeacoffee.com/unexplained. A special thanks to our producer, director, sound mixer, editor, and the man that wears far too many hats. No, seriously, he has a lot of hats, Dr. Tim Mounts. Without you, we couldn't keep the lights on. Thanks for listening to All Things Unexplained.